example right there after you read it. It says the essay should be at least how many words? 375, but the most you can have is 425, okay? And then we're looking at writing an absolute value equation that would represent the minimum and maximum lengths of the essay. Okay, right down here I put, there's two things you need to know to do this problem. First of all, you need to know the mean. Okay, you need to know the mean. In other words, the average. All right, so jot that down for now. And then secondly, the second thing you're going to need is to know how far is the mean from the endpoints. I should probably have a question mark on the end of that. So two things you're going to need. The mean, and then how far is the mean from the endpoint. Those are the two things you're going to need. All right? Everybody okay with that? Just kind of show graphically what this is going to look like. If I had a number line of this example right here, and that's not a very good line, I'll do it this way. If I had a number line of this example right here, what was the lowest number of words I could use for this essay? 375, right? What was the highest number of words that I could use for the essay? 425. Now, if you guys recall, we started this by saying absolute value is the distance from what? 0. Well, do you guys agree that 0 is not going to fit in the middle of these two values right here? On this number line, would 0 go between these two values? It wouldn't. So the value I want to pick is the one that's going to be right in the middle of those two values, or in other words, the mean. I want the average of that. So we're going to use the average here. So help me out. Add 375 and 425. Divide by 2, or if you can just tell me where the middle is going to be. Where's it going to be? 400. Yep. If I add those two values up, divide by 2, the mean is, in this case, I'm going to go back on something I don't like this. That doesn't matter. The mean here is going to be 400. Okay? It's right in here. 400. All right? Well, then the next question becomes this. How far is, I should say, how far are the endpoints from the mean, or from the middle in this case? How far are the endpoints from the mean? How many units? From 425, guys? 25 units. There's 25 units this way. And there's 25 units this way. Okay, so I'm going to give you the formula for this stuff. Basically, your formula for this stuff here is going to be the following. I'll make a line over here. And I should put down how far is the mean from the endpoints. You told me 25 units. Okay. I'm going to do something like this right here. To write equations like this, you always write down the absolute value of x minus your mean equals that distance here. All right. So in this example right here, to write an equation for this, you would start with an absolute value, x. It says x minus the what over there, guys? The mean. What is the average here, guys? 400. X minus 400. Then that's going to equal, what were the distances from the mean, guys? 25. That would be an equation to represent what's going on there. So you're really looking for an average and distance of these. And then let me show you something real quickly here, guys, in terms of this working or not working. I'll know this is true if you take your endpoints and plug them back in. Guys, what was the first endpoint, or the lowest number of words in the essay? Okay, do this for me. Somebody punch up 375 minus 400. Kinsey, have you got her? How much? Negative 25. However, though, if I go ahead in that last step and take the absolute value of what Kinsey told us, negative 25, what's that get you? Positive 25. Take your upper value, 425. What is 425 minus 400, kiddos? 25. Absolute value of that again is what? When you're doing problems like this, story problems that involve a maximum and a minimum, the first thing you're looking for is the mean. And then the second thing you need to know is how far is the mean from the endpoints in your formula. X minus the average is the distance from the endpoints. Okay? So let's talk about that example. On the interstate, you're driving 70 miles an hour at a max, not a mile an hour over. Okay? 70, not 75, because the cops won't pull you over for 75. Yes, they will. I know. All right. And then what's the minimum on the interstates in Iowa? 40. Okay, let's write an absolute value equation for those signs. For those signs. And I think that all those signs in the state of Iowa should look like an absolute value equation to make people think when they're driving. What do you guys think? No? But you could explain it, right? Okay. What are my endpoints, first of all, for that speed limit sign? 40 and 70. So the first thing I want to find is the average. Do that quickly. What do you get? 55. Oh my gosh. I think the government actually did think rationally about something once. They use 55 as the mean. Okay. How far is 55 from 70 and 40? The units from 55 to the two endpoints. 15 miles an hour, right? What's your equation going to look like then? The absolute value of x minus 55 equals 15, okay? Basically what that's saying is the speed limit there is 15 miles above 55 miles an hour, or the speed limit can be 15 miles below 55 miles an hour. Okay with that? Okay. So if you see a story problem like this, do you understand the process that I've given you to handle those? All right. Questions about that example, kids? All right, one more here, and then I'm going to turn you loose on some stuff today, and then we'll have some conversations. And if you have questions or concerns at that time, make sure you address them that way. Okay, excellent job, you guys. Excellent. All right, last example. I like this problem. Remember at the beginning of the section we said there's going to be a vocab term in here that says extraneous solutions. And I believe our definition for that was solutions that are not needed, right? Solutions that are not needed. Okay, don't lose sight of that core concept. Absolute value of something has to equal either a positive or what? 0. In something like this right here, guys, watch out with something like this. I have one absolute value, but over here, do I have a constant or do I have a variable? All right, just let me show you what's going on. It says solve 3n plus 18 equals 6n. All right, here's how this works. I'm going to take the something, first of all, 3n plus 18, and set this equal to 6n. That's one equation. This is the something equal to the original. I've also got to take that something in absolute value bars and set it equal to the opposite of the original. So what's the second equation going to look like? 3n plus 18 equals what again, Mason? Negative 6n. All right. No struggle for the equations, right? Everybody cool with this? Let's find our values. Guys, to this one right here, I'm going to subtract 3n from both sides. Subtraction property of equality. Boom and boom. What are you left with on the left-hand side the way I'm running this? 18 equals what? So what's your n value going to equal? So one solution is going to be 6, right? One solution is going to be 6. We all agree? Check this second one out. Same thing. I'm going to subtract 3n from both sides. I've got 18 this time equals negative 9n. Okay? Guys following along okay? So what's my n value going to equal this time? Negative 2. All right, so I've got n equals negative 2 this time. All right, I'm going to change to red here. There's some important stuff going on here. If I would substitute stuff back in, watch what happens. Okay, I'm going to go back to this original equation right up here. We think the two solutions are 6 and what? Negative 2. But up here I've already titled this identifying extraneous solutions. We might have something that's extra and not needed. All right, what does extraneous mean? Here's what it means. Help me plug 6 in here. This will become the absolute value of 3 times 6 plus 18, right? And that would equal 6 times the n value. In this case, the n value is again what? 6. So 6 times 6. So here, guys, we end up with the absolute value of, let's see, what is 3 times 6? 18 plus 18 more. Is that statement a true statement or a false statement? This is true. This statement is true. So what I'm getting at is this. 6 is a solution because it makes your statement a true statement. Basically what I did is I substituted the numbers back in, didn't I? And we found out the statement is true. Now we also saw here when we said n is also negative 2 right here. Okay? So I'm going to do the same thing. Come back up to this original equation. Let's plug stuff in. We've got the absolute value of 3 times negative 2 plus 18. All agree there? All I did was substitute negative 2 in for n right here. That's going to equal 6 times what value, guys? Help me out. I'm not very good at this. 3 times negative 2. Negative 6. So negative 6 from 18. So this is the absolute value of what, guys? Let me get on the right side. 6 times negative 2. Negative 12, right? Now, guys, we went through all that work, and we got an answer of negative 2. And it worked for us. But when I substitute negative 2 back into an absolute value equation such as this, is there a problem right now? What's the problem? They're not equal all of a sudden. Down here, we get the absolute value of 12. That's what we wanted. But what kind of a 12 did we have over here when the n was negative? Okay, and we said that the absolute value of something has to either be positive or what? Positive or 0. Is that the case right here? This is a problem. This is saying positive 12 equals negative 12. Is that true or false? This is a false statement. Okay, so the question becomes this. Yeah, I got 6 and I got negative 2 as a solution. But I would say negative 2 is what type of a solution? What's the word up there? It's a false statement. It gives us a false statement. What kind of a solution do we call that now? It's called an extraneous solution. It means, yeah, we got an answer for it, but that answer is not needed. It does not work for us in the original equation. So I would say my solutions in here are 6 and negative 2, where negative 2 is, what's the word? Extraneous. Extraneous. Okay, it's extra. It's not needed. It's time to punt negative 2 from the other team. It's time to pile drive negative 2. It's time to choke slam negative 2. We don't want it. Go out to misery, right? Okay. So in a nutshell, those are the notes here. I think you guys have got a pretty good handle. Again, just remember the core concept. Absolute value of something has to equal a positive or 0. If that's true, set the something in absolute value bars equal to the original. And then the second equation, set the something equal to the opposite of the original. Okay. Very good, guys. All right, so here's what we're going to do today to finish up.